Another edition of the Hudson River New York Derby tomorrow at Citi Field. Glenn Crooks, always good enough to give us some time. Glenn, special
Yes.
when these teams meet, and I would say special in a different way this year than maybe years gone by, because the last time these teams played was their first ever playoff matchup. I would imagine your New York City team tomorrow will try and deliver a little bit of a message.
I suppose I don't get the impression, being at training today, which is Friday, the day before the game, I didn't get the impression that that was top of mind. I think everybody understands Derby emotions will run higher because that's what they should, as Pascal Janssen said, who's been in a lot of derbies, but in different countries. It's the way it's supposed to be. But I don't know, just it's a new team, even though there's a lot of familiar faces, and I'm sure some of them are thinking about it, but others I just don't get that impression because they got to worry about themselves based on these last four games. I mean that's the essence of it.
If you think of it, and two things with that answer lead me into, as I was doing game sheet for today, a lot of changes from last year's team to this year's team. You said obviously the coaching change is one, players in, players out, which is obviously normal as well. There's some injury issues with NYC going into the game, I think. And it's not necessarily the same team. So tell me at this point, we're about a third of the way in the year, how things are going in terms of development under a new coach with a new system.
Well, I think the win over FC Cincinnati, what was that, 4 games ago, was the first match in May. So they've played 4 matches in May thus far, and that was really encouraging. It kind of gave you the idea that the team is starting to understand the way Pascal Janssen wants to play. The 1-0 win, Julian Fernandez scored. Somebody other than Alonso Martinez scored a goal, which was really necessary. But then nothing the next 3 matches, not a single tally. All competitions, and that includes a loss to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in this 4 game run, and no goals in over 360 minutes, all competitions. So it's a dilemma, but I do think they've sorted out a little bit the way he wants to play, and the guy that I would imagine will start in the midfield tomorrow, Aiden O'Neill. He's the only player they acquired during the transfer window, and he's good. He's a very good midfielder, and they kept talking about, the replacement for James Sands, the replacement for James Sands. Well, this is the guy that's going to fit that bill, I think, and maybe even a little more. We'll see.
Is it a case of inconsistency with players in and out? Is it, as you just said, maybe they're now figuring out the system new coaching staff wants to play? Are there holes on this team that maybe haven't necessarily been filled yet?
It's not a deep roster, and if I could speak like a coach for a moment, one of the most difficult things when you're
Of
directing
which
it,
of which you always like to do. Let's make
well,
that very clear.
when you're uh, when you're with a team, both individually and as a team, if you don't know what to expect from game to game, it's a very difficult proposition as far as personnel choice, team setup, and things like that. And that's been the issue. And Pascal Janssen, he told me after the 6th game, he goes, every 6 games, he does a thorough review of the team. And now we've had 2 6 game threads for him to look at. And his most disappointing moment, I think, in this last 6 games is, which is now 7 games, since we're through match day 13, is, or are we? What are we on? Match day 13 or 14? 14, right? Yeah, we are on 14. Is a lack of consistency. So that's what the problem was with the first 6, one of the issues, and now we continue with the same thing. Although a little bit better in the lockdown category. Like if they're not conceding goals late, which was an issue earlier in the year. So that is one area of improvement.
How about last game, Crooksy? Scoreless draw down in DC, a DC team which, to be fair, beat Red Bull earlier in the year, but not sure that they're the measuring stick that you'd want to go against. Was that a, hey, we'll always take a point on the road game, or was that a disappointing, we didn't get 3?
Well, New York City was the better team. Christian Benteke got injured on 20 minutes and he couldn't come back. So they go with a kid named Jacob Morrell, Georgetown boy, who it just doesn't have the physical profile of Benteke, where they could just serve the ball up to him. I talked to Troy Lesane after the game a little bit, and he goes, "Yeah, well, we're doing the best we can when he's not in there because he could hold up anything, and he's also like monumentally statistically ahead of every player in the league in terms of aerial battles won. So they lost a really big cog and they produced very little in the game. New York City, on the other hand, had some great chances, and their former keeper was the man of the match, Luis Peraza. And Luis had one exceptional save on the kid Johnny Shore off a corner, which looked like a sure goal. And then he had some other very good saves. So I think they were just denied by their former keeper, more so than anything. They really felt like they should have had the three, but that's the way it goes.
Finish with this one, and I'll go back to a previous answer. You said, even though it's a rivalry game, sometimes that goes, unsaid. With so many new players, new coaching staff, who is the player or two from a New York City side who's been in the locker room the last 48 hours saying, "Hey, this is our game that we can turn it around. It's always emotional, it's always combative, not always the cleanest of soccer, but we've got to figure out a way to get 3 points tomorrow."
Well, Maxi Morales has played the most games against the Red Bulls. He's going to be one. Thiago Martins is the captain, or he's not officially been named the captain for the year, but he's worn the captain's armband every game this season. And this new guy, Aiden O'Neill, I think we might see him start to become a leader as soon as tomorrow. He's got that personality. He's not like a rah-rah guy, but he is a demanding fellow. I've talked to a lot of coaches who have worked with him, and they say the one thing that really stands out beyond his skill is his leadership capability as far as demanding the players around him to perform to the level necessary for success. And in my mind, they haven't had that guy this year. Maxi Morales is a good leader. Thiago Martins, he will raise his voice, but I don't know if they've had that person that really demands the best. And at 26 years old, an Australian international, he's played a lot of big matches. He was the captain at Standard Liège. I'm expecting him to help turn things around a little bit as far as on-field expectations. So those Keaton Parks won't play. He'll have a voice in this, but he won't be playing. He's injured, and he's the other guy.
Appreciate Crooks of your time as always. Look forward to seeing you in person tomorrow, bud.
All right, man. Thank you.